Dylan Scott, welcome to Biscuits and Jam.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Where am I reaching you right now?
We are in, I'm in Nashville right now. Yeah.
Okay. That's home base for you?
It is. I've been here, 14 years now, which is crazy.
Well, so you've been coming to Nashville. I saw somewhere that you've been coming to Nashville since you were 16 or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So the first time I came to Nashville, I was 16 years old, just to visit, you know. My dad lived here when he was in his 20s, and so he was showing me around, and I always knew I wanted to live here. So yeah, my senior year of high school, I missed like a total of 6 weeks coming back and forth to Nashville, which I don't know how I graduated doing that, but we did.
Well, it does have some gravitational pull, doesn't it?
It does. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, like I didn't know anything about Nashville. I just knew my dad lived here and the music scene was here, and that's what I wanted to do. And then once I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is the spot. You know,
this is for me.
This is for me. This is where all the country music singers come and all their dreams come true, you know? So yeah, it's a great spot.
And here you are. Although not for long, because I know you're probably about to head out on the road and do a bunch of shows, correct?
Yeah, we've been doing a bunch of shows. We just wrapped up our Country Till I Die headline tour, which was awesome. Played some of the biggest venues that I've headlined so far in my career. And we've had a couple of weeks off now. CMA Fest is this week, and then after that, back to the grind through the summer.
Well, it'll be a fun grind. I know that. And especially with the new album coming out. You got a brand new record out. It's called Easy Does It. Although I'm sure it probably wasn't that easy to make it happen.
Nothing's easy. Nothing good in life is easy. You know, you got to work for it. But yeah, it was fun. You know, it was fun making this album, my third album, Easy Does It. But yeah, man, nothing in life that's worth, you know, pursuing is easy. You got to work for it.
Talk to me about the title. How'd you come up with that? And, you know, what did you kind of want to say with that?
Yeah, that's always a tough deal. Wondering like, hey, what are you going to name the album, you know? And Easy Does It it made sense this time. Even though if you listen to Easy Does It, it's a breakup song, you know, but it has nothing to do with the actual song itself. It's more of just the title, Easy Does It, and just really where I'm at in life right now. You know, I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old, so the breakup part of that doesn't really make sense. But you know, we've got 3 kids now, and I'm in my 30s, and I've been doing this a while, and just in that Easy Does It phase. You know, there was a time of life when it wasn't that way, and it was all on me. I did it myself. You know, I'd wake up stressed out about stuff that I couldn't control, out of my control. And I don't know, man, I don't know if it was the kids or just getting older or being with my wife and married for as long as we have now. I just one day woke up and said, hey, do what you can control and worry about that and let everything else fall in place. And when I did that, hey, man, no pun intended, but it's just been easy since, you know.
That's great to see you at a stage in your career when, you know, you can enjoy some of the hard work that you've put in, enjoy the connection to the fans. You know,
that's a tough thing to do, you know, as much as we go, you know, with the touring and with the kids doing, you know, baseball and gymnastics and whatever else we're doing, whether it's, you know, going to the grocery store or just playing in the backyard. And it's a tough thing to sit back and go, hey, look what we've done. Because we're always, hey, what's next? What's next? What's next? And, you know, when you can finally sit back and go, hey, look what we've done so far, you know, and enjoy that. It's a pretty special thing.
You mentioned meeting your wife, Blair, or I think y'all even met before high school, but y'all started dating at 15 or something. And this is in Bastrop, Louisiana, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we're both from the same town. Met in 7th grade and never spoke a word to me. And this is we went to a small school, like a really small school, and never really talked to each other. Like not even a, hey, how you doing kind of deal until our sophomore year of high school when we started dating. And I look back now, I was like, man, what was I thinking?
What was I thinking? Yeah. Well, you figured it out eventually.
Yeah, no doubt.
So talk to me about your hometown a little bit. And particularly, I'm curious about, the house where you grew up, and what did it kind of look and feel like when you drove down the driveway?
Yeah, so it wasn't a very long driveway. I lived on a street where my grandparents lived across the pasture from I did. I had aunts and uncles that lived on my road, cousins obviously, and so we kind of all grew up together. Grew up in a small 3-bedroom home that my dad built himself for $40,000 back in '89 or '90, and but you know what? It was a great place. It was a great home. It was homey. And just had plenty of room to, man, we could hop on a four-wheeler and ride all day and not see anybody, or go out in the backyard or back in the woods. And we spent a lot of time back in the woods just hanging out, building forts and exploring, as kids, doing what kids do. But it was an awesome place, man, out in the country, 20 minutes from anything, any kind of restaurant or store or anything like that. So just a small country town way of living, I guess.
So this is in the northeastern part of Louisiana. It's pretty close to Arkansas, right?
Yeah, I was like five minutes from the Arkansas line.
Yeah, and Mississippi too, right? It's kind of in the corner.
That's right. So probably like 5 minutes from Arkansas, 30 minutes from Mississippi.
So does it feel like what most people think of as Louisiana?
No, I mean, most people, I feel like when people think Louisiana, they think, obviously down south,
Think of the coast, yeah.
They think of down south, the fishing, the bayou, the all the Cajun food, which, I mean, we had that. We had the bayous and whatnot, but it's nothing like down south. It's a whole different world down there. In a good way. I loved it. I sometimes I wish, it's like, man, I wish I would have grew up in South Louisiana. It's a whole different way of life, but I do love where I grew up and how I grew up.
Yeah, I'm sure you have an appreciation for some of that food, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had it. Don't get me wrong, we had the food, but not like it is just a few hours south.
Yeah, yeah. So you're surrounded by a lot of family, which sounds great. Were you close with Blair's family as well?
Yeah, I mean, once we started dating, obviously, and I met her family, I mean, we were very close and still very close. It's a small town, we all grew up the same way. We all have the same beliefs, the same everything. And so, yeah, it's pretty tight niche, and just good people. And that's all you can really hope for, is just being surrounded by good people. And that was everybody in the town to this day. I can go back today and everybody's still just great people.
Well, that's good that you weren't seen as a kind of a black sheep or anything.
Yeah, no.
Town's too small for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had an older brother and sister that I learned what not to do from. So I had a better way of understanding what I needed to do to not be the black sheep.
Yeah. Okay, good. You learned some lessons.
Absolutely.
So Dylan, you're pretty close to the Mississippi River there. And I'm wondering if was that a place where you spent some time? I mean, you've talked a lot about hunting and fishing, and how that's something that you love. That's a part of your life and always has been. What was that? Did you get over there and spend time near the river, or was that part of your world?
So, I mean, obviously we crossed the Mississippi River a lot as a kid. And, I can remember crossing the Mississippi River, looking at it going, man, it's amazing. I mean, it's just a massive, massive river, right? And so there's something special about it, especially for me and where I grew up. But I didn't really spend time over near the Mississippi River until I was older in life. I've done some hunting over there, and it's some really good hunting over on the Mississippi River, obviously. But as a kid, no, we didn't spend much time actually on the river.
Yeah.
But crossing the river when we did, it was just like, there's something special about it.
Yeah, it's pretty majestic. It's also a little dangerous, so it's probably good that you weren't spending too much time there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you hear stories, and it's like, man, it is a dangerous river. It's a dangerous river to be on, even if you spent your whole life on the river. It's still dangerous. And we had such good hunting where I grew up. 30 minutes from the river, that, hey, we didn't really have to get over there on the river.
And was this duck hunting or deer or what
It was
was your
both.
uh-huh.
Yeah, duck hunting and deer hunting. You know, I grew up doing a lot of duck hunting and deer hunting when I was younger. Uh, these days, I do more deer hunting than duck hunting. Just, you know, from where I live in Tennessee, there is
Yeah,
duck hunting around here, but it's nothing like what I grew up doing.
right.
But duck hunting's a lot of work, man. The older I get, it's like, golly, I don't know if I want to put in that much work. You know, I'd rather just take some hunting trips or hunt here around Tennessee and get the easy way out.
Hauling decoys and dealing with boats
Oh,
and yeah,
getting up early
getting
just
up
to,
at 4 o'clock or something. And yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. Yeah, it's tough.
So Dylan, you come from this big family, and your folks had some mouths to feed. Who was doing all the cooking in your family?
My mom would do the cooking. Now she had her specialties because, I mean, my mom will tell you, she'd tell you straight up, hey, I ain't the best cook in the world, you know. But what she did cook was great. Like her deer steak, her fried deer steak and mashed potatoes, hey, so good. But my grandmother who lived next to us, she was the cook. And she was so good, man. I mean, I remember her chicken and dumplings, and every now and then, check this out, squirrel dumplings.
Really?
Ever had it?
No. I've had
Oh,
squirrel, but I've not had squirrel dumplings. So
so good, so good. But I can remember, man, she'd make these dumplings and these homemade biscuits and her cornbread. That's what she was known for, was her cornbread, man. I don't know what she did, but my uncle has all her cookbooks and recipes. And so he texted me last week. He's like, I'm sending all this to you because I like to cook, you know, and I miss what she cooked. It's like, man, if I can get a hold of those, it'd be amazing.
what was your grandmother's name?
Her name was Marie.
She's still with us or no?
She's not. She died a few years ago.
Oh,
But yeah, so I miss that cooking, man. Because she cooked every day,
yeah.
every single day.
Well, you got to take care of those cookbooks. That's for sure.
No doubt. Yeah. I think they're sitting in a box in his garage. So I was like, send them to me.
Yeah, take care of those. Take care of those. Yeah. What about a holiday celebration for y'all? What did that look like? I mean, you know, did you have a lot of folks there?
Yeah, it was really just your traditional holidays, you know. A lot of family got together. Had our traditional holiday meals, whatever it was. If it was Thanksgiving, obviously it's turkey and dressing. And then, you know, Christmas time, I felt like it was still dressing and maybe ham or, you know, all the stuff, the macaronis and the anything you can think of traditional holiday meals is what we had. You know, we never did anything really outside of that. Everybody's like, oh, what's your holiday tradition? I was like, really what you think of when you think of the holidays. That's what we did. You know, we all got together and spent time together and ate. We did a bunch of eating.
And you picked up a little bit of cooking skills from your family. I mean, do you have a specialty?
I don't know if I have a specialty. I just enjoy it. I don't know what it is about cooking. It takes my mind off of everything else going on. And, you know, I love trying new recipes and trying new things, but I pretty much tend to stick to the grill, you know. That's kind of what I do. I mean, whether it's steak or chicken or I don't do anything too crazy, which, you know, I feel like I make a pretty good ribeye sandwich, which I was pretty proud of that one. Just kind of one day, like, man, I'm make a ribeye sandwich, and didn't look up a recipe or anything. I was like, let me see what I can do, and went and found some thinly sliced ribeyes, and then sliced them up, obviously myself, and added the peppers and the seasonings, and you know, do the bread. I butter the bread, grill it on the actual grill itself, toast it, and then, man, it's pretty good. Pretty good ribeye sandwich.
That sounds good. It almost sounds kind of like a cheesesteak or something.
It's
I don't know
very close to a cheesesteak. Tastes a little bit different, but that one right there is one of those where I know I can make it, and my buddies are over, and if they eat it, I know for a fact they're gonna be like, dude, what is this? You know? So yeah, that's kind of my go-to.
That's great. So Dylan, I want to talk music for a second and talk about your dad. Your dad's a musician, and so you were kind of born into it to a degree, and you've got a brother who's a really talented guitar player. So what are some things that your dad taught you early on about music that have kind of stayed with you?
The biggest thing he taught me about music, in my opinion, is he told me it's not an overnight success. And as a kid, I never understood that. I'm like, what do you mean, Dad? I'm gonna move to Nashville and get a record deal, and we're gonna hit the road, and all the success is gonna happen, And it doesn't quite work like that for everybody. Sometimes it does, But that was probably the biggest life lesson he taught me about the music was it's not an overnight success. You got to work for it, and you got to keep working for it even once you have success. But I don't know, man. My dad, I just grew up with it. Like you said, him living in Nashville and playing with the guys he used to play for, and then he gave it all up, moved back to Louisiana and married my mom and became a welder. And I couldn't imagine how that would feel because he was living his dream. He was here in Nashville doing exactly what I'm doing, and then just said, hey, I'm going to start a family and go do a regular job and work my way up in the construction field. But I just remember seeing pictures and videos of my dad on stage, and we played music in the house since I was a kid. He first taught me piano, and then when I was probably 12 years old, taught me guitar. And he was a great teacher, man. Still is. I mean, he's the one that will tell you real quick, hey, you're oversinging, or hey, you're playing too hard, or hey, you need to play like this. And he's always been right, And I feel like you need that. You don't need somebody who tells you you're great every single day, because how can you get better if you're told you're great? We can all get better at something, but he's the one that pushed me not to do music. I wanted to do music. He never said, hey, let's do music, but he knew what I wanted to do. So he pushed me in a way that made me better.
Well, he must have recognized that you got some real talent, and because he knows what talent looks like. So he probably saw that pretty early on.
Yeah, he did. I mean, there's videos of myself when I was 3, 4 years old. He's playing guitar and I'm singing. And I look back at those now, and obviously I don't sing like I do now, but you can tell as a 3, 4-year-old, hey, he's holding a tune, like he's holding the pitch right, And so my dad noticed that early on. And, with what he did and everything, obviously he was super proud of that. He's like, oh, my boy can sing too, So he was definitely all for it. But both my parents were never like, you have some parents out there like, no, son, or you're going to go to college and you're going to do this. Like, they never told me what I was going to do or pushed me either way, whether college or music. It was just really whatever I wanted to do. And I respect that. I think because of that, if they would have pushed me harder in music, who knows, man, maybe I wouldn't have done it, But by letting me figure out who I was and what I wanted to do, obviously pushed me to do music, So I'm grateful for that.
I've heard you talk about your dad kind of teaching you about the value of hard work. And I'm wondering if, what did that look like in terms of working for him, or, jobs that he would give you, that kind of thing?
I remember I was 14 going on 15, and obviously he's setting me up, he's trying to set me up for life. And I remember him telling me, hey, you're fixing to be 16 for long, and you're going to have a truck. And when you get a truck, you got to pay for your
gas to buy. Yeah.
That's right. And, I come from a family where my parents didn't make a lot of money. We weren't poor, but they made money. They made enough money for us to have what we needed and live a good life. But, Dad wasn't going to pay for the gas, So he got my first job when I was 15 years old, and I was cleaning boat carburetors at a marine shop, So I learned how to clean the boat carburetors and clean the shop up and mow the yard out there and organize the boats where I was at. And so I remember having that first job, and, wasn't making a lot of money, but hey, as a 15-year-old kid, I had money, and so I was paying for my gas. And then wasn't long after that, I started dating my wife. And so, I needed money to go out on dates.
Pay for dates. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I always had what I needed between obviously mom and dad and then myself working. From there, I've had plenty of jobs. I had a job since I was 15, whether it was working at a gym, or when I was 17, 18, during the summer, I was actually working in the construction field. The company he worked for, I went to work for them, working in the shop, beveling pipe, cleaning up around the shop. Every now and then got to go to like some paper mills and work what they call shutdowns, just a helper, out. The worst part of it was I spent a week on a jackhammer one day. And at first I was like, oh, this is cool. I got a jackhammer, we're busting up concrete and stuff. And after a day and a half of that, my hands were so sore. I was like, man, this is some work. These boys, they work. And I realized then, which I knew I wanted to do music, right? I knew I was going to go to Nashville, but I realized then, hey, I'm going to go to Nashville and I'm going to sing so I don't have to be on a jackhammer every day.
All the time.
I asked my dad a couple of months ago, because my dad was a phenomenal welder. I mean, he was very skillful and could build things. It's just like, man, how did you build that? And I asked him a couple of months ago, I said, Dad, why don't you, as good of a welder as you are, why did you never teach me to weld? I'd love to have that skill set. Even now, you never know when it come in handy. And he said, because I didn't want you to be a welder. I didn't want you to go through what I went through and all that stuff, So I said, well, you know what? I respect that. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, it sounds like, he instilled some good things in you, and some things that probably help you navigate this crazy country music world, and also, the grind of it, and because I know it is a grind.
It is a grind. It really is, and so I'm thankful for Dad and just teaching me the hard work aspect of life, because, people don't understand. They think it's all just glam and glory out here, traveling around on a bus and go play a show. But, there's may not be a lot of physical hard work, but there's a lot of work. There's a lot of time spent away from your family, just going here and going there. And it wears on you. It really does. And that's where my wife comes into play, man. She's the best. She's the rock that holds it all together. She's known since I was 15. We were 15, what I wanted to do. And so, I've never had that situation or that moment where, my wife's like, oh, why do you got to go this weekend? Why can't you just stay home with me and the kids? Or I really wish you wouldn't go. And I mean, I've missed birthday parties, and she's always understood it. She knows how this business works, and there's upsides and there's downsides. And so the downside is, you do miss things. You do miss a birthday party here and there, or you miss whatever. But the upside of that is, there's a lot of things that I do get to be around or see that, maybe a lot of dads out there that have to go to work at 7 o'clock every day and get home at 4 o'clock, and they're just so tired and they don't want to go do this. I mean, there is an upside to what I do as well. I do get to spend a lot of time with my kids.
That's what it's all about. So, if you can make that happen, that's great. I hear some themes of what you're talking about, and kind of the value of hard work that I heard from Lainey Wilson. I interviewed her. I've interviewed her a couple times, and but she, talks about how that kind of prepared her for this pretty rigorous life on the road. And she grew up right down the road from you.
Yeah, not far at all.
Yeah, I mean, like probably less than an hour. And I'm wondering if you've connected with her, or if y'all have any kind of shared connections from that part of Louisiana.
Yeah, we've known each other since we were like probably 14 or 15 years old.
Really?
Yeah, just playing, the same little festivals down in Louisiana. Or we used to play this thing at these little theaters with a house band. And so we would go out and she'd sing a couple of songs and I'd sing a couple of songs. So yeah, we spent a lot of time together as kids. And you're right. I mean, growing up the same part of the country, she's the same way. She had some hardworking parents, and she grew up on a farm and grew up, doing all that. And she's prepared for what she's doing as well. And she's busting it right now. So yeah, it's really cool to see somebody that you've known for so long from the same part of the country having great success as well. So we see each other out on the road here and there, and it's just like we were kids again. Like, dang, can you believe we're doing this? Like, what is happening?
That's great. Yeah, I mean, those because both those towns are not real big. I mean,
Oh no,
I don't
yeah,
know what's bigger. I mean, I think she told me that there was maybe one stoplight in her town, if that.
yeah. I mean, I know where she grew up, and it's super small.
Yeah,
It's very small, like just like where I grew up, middle of nowhere. You had to drive anywhere to get to a Walmart or a shopping mall was like 45 minutes for us. So
yeah.
it was great.
All right, Dylan, I want to do something kind of quick, and it's something we call a jam session, and I'm just gonna ask you some rapid fire questions, and nothing complicated, I promise. I've just got a few here. Are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, biscuits or cornbread?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. It depends on the time of day, right? Um, I want to say cornbread, but I'm gonna be honest with you. It's got to be a biscuit, I think.
Okay.
I mean, it's a biscuit every time.
Well, except your grandmother's cornbread was another thing, right?
But she had great biscuits too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a tough one.
Okay, gumbo or jambalaya?
Jambalaya, all day.
Acoustic or electric?
Acoustic.
I've seen you some great acoustic stuff of yours recently. I love that.
Thank you.
Nashville or New Orleans?
Ooh, got to pick Nashville.
Yeah, hometown.
It's where my heart's at.
The dish I'm known for making at home is blank.
My dish is going to be the ribeye sandwich. So good.
Okay. Yeah, we covered that one. I never go into the woods without blank.
Oh, I never go into the woods without a flashlight and a pocket knife and a gun. Never know. You just never know.
You never know. All right. One of my all-time favorite road trip songs is blank.
Oh, my all-time favorite road trip song. I just go old school country. Probably some Keith Whitley. It drives my wife nuts. She's more of like, she's a rock girl. She likes her 80s rock, and I can't stand it. But I have to have my classic country.
Okay. Well, give me one song.
Oh, Miami, Miami, Keith Whitley.
Great.
10 Feet Away, Keith Whitley. Come on, all that.
Great. All right. When I have a Saturday at home, I love to relax by blank.
When I have a Saturday at home, I just love to honestly hang out with my kids, jump on the trampoline, like to do a lot of cooking, maybe go to Home Depot. Older I get, man, Home Depot or Lowe's, I like it a lot.
And buy some stuff you don't need, probably.
Every time. Spend way too much money.
All right, just two more. I'd love to sing a duet with blank.
Tim McGraw. I'd love to do it with Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a Northeast Louisiana boy, too.
That's right. That's right. The best dog I ever had was named blank.
Brody. He was a German short-haired pointer. He was the best dog, man.
And was this when you were a kid?
No, actually, we got this dog after we got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great dog.
That's great. All right. That's it. All right. So, Dylan, I want to talk a little bit more about your new record. The first song on the record is called What He'll Never Have.
Correct.
And it already has, I think, millions of streams. It's found an audience. It's resonated with people. And it's a little bit of a dark one in a way because it kind of imagines your wife's life after you cash in your chips. But talk to me about what was on your mind with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. But I mean, at the same time, it's stuff that I always think about, As bad as you don't want to think about that, it's like, what if something happens? What if I leave this world younger than what I'm intended to or what I want to, It's like, what about my family, And so I thought about that and was like, I hope there's somebody out there who can, help raise my kids or make my wife happy. They can have all my stuff. I don't care what they have, all the worldly stuff, but what they'll never have is the love I have for my wife or have for my kids. And so I remember writing this song, just thinking it's another song, nothing crazy about it. And I was riding around with my wife, and then wasn't playing this song. I was just playing music in general. And I turned this one on, and she's like, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, I wrote this a few weeks ago." She goes, "I love it." I said, "You love it?" She goes, "This might be my favorite song you've ever wrote."
Wow,
And
really?
I'm like, yeah, it kind of took me back a little bit because it's like, babe, I've written My Girl and Nobody and Can't Have Mine, like all these love songs that how I feel about you. And here I am, a song about me dying. And if I die, then I hope somebody else takes care of it. She's like, yeah, but like, how sweet. Like, what woman wouldn't want to hear that? And I'm like, you know what? And so by her saying that pushed me to really record it and release it, and I'm glad I did because it's on track to be the biggest song of my career right now.
So she's got a real ear for your music and kind of knows a good one when she hears it.
Yeah, I bounce a lot on music off of her because once again, she doesn't blow smoke. She tells me like it is. She'll tell me real quick, this I don't really like this song, or oh I love this song, and so that's what you want. If somebody tells you every song's great, well, every song's not great. It's just the way life is. You can't write a great song every time. So when she tells me something's great, I take it to heart. It's like, okay, well, if she says it's good, then maybe everybody else will think it's good. But if she tells me it's bad, it's like, all right, well, if it's bad, it's bad. So
Well, that's awfully nice to have that, in house.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. I want to ask you about another one. And it goes back to your hometown. It's called "This Town's Been Too Good to Us," which is kind of a tribute to Bastrop, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's
Um,
about my town.
what made you want to write this one and particularly at this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in my career, I mean, I look back and I look at the success we've had and where I come from and how we grew up, and it's like, man, how did we get here? How did we get to this moment? And there's a lot of variables to it. There's a lot of reasons why we got to this moment right now. But I go back to day one, and day one it was my town. It was the people in my town and the support they gave me along the way. And I don't know, man. I love a good town song in general. This Town's Been Too Good to Us is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written and released. Just because of that, because of the way I grew up and where I grew up and the people, and it was just one of those songs I knew I had to do and I wanted to do, and just very proud of the way it turned out. Went back and shot the music video in my hometown with a lot of places in the town where I grew up, like. There's a scene in it I called the people that's living in my wife's house that she grew up in now. I said, hey, can I shoot a scene in your front yard? Because so much happened there. There's a scene at a ballpark there where we used to sneak into and play football at. We'd turn the lights on and, nobody ever messed with us. I always thought like, man, we're gonna turn these lights on one day and the cops are gonna come by and shut us down, but they never did. It was just a cool place.
That's great. Well, they must love that song back in Bastrop, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. There's a billboard when you come into town right now that they put up that they said they'll never take down. We'll see if they do, but obviously it says welcome to the home of Dylan Scott. But the picture is a picture from the music video where I'm sitting on top of the courthouse, staring out across the town with the water tower in the back, and yeah, man, it's just cool to see. It's just cool to see that that they care. They're like, oh, that's our boy. He grew up here.
I saw that Morgan Wallen was a writer on "I Owe You One,"
Oh, you won, yeah.
which is the last song on the record. Um, have you gotten to know Morgan well in recent years, or do y'all have a strong connection?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Morgan pretty well, back when we were both coming up and doing our thing. And obviously, man, he's had crazy success. And with that comes, crazy, crazy moments of people pulling you here and pulling you there. So, obviously, if I see him out, you say hey, but yeah, he's a busy dude and he's doing his thing. But I knew him very well, obviously, back when we were both kids, grinding, doing the thing, trying to have the
Early
same
days in
outcome.
Nashville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good dude.
That's great. I wanted to ask you about Keith Whitley. You've talked a lot about Keith Whitley being a musical hero of yours, and you mentioned him earlier. Um, you love his music. There's something about it that really resonates with you. Um, and he is someone whose career was cut short I mean, he died tragically in, I think it was 1989, from, I believe it was alcohol poisoning um, and I'm wondering if there are aspects of his story that have made an impression on you beyond his music, or is it really just kind of his voice and his songs that have stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, it was his voice, right? It was the tone of his voice. Even before I was listening to lyrics, it was really just the voice and the melody. How great of a singer he was, and I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, learning guitar as a kid, playing his music, man, just closing my eyes and imagining myself in Nashville on a tour bus, out touring, doing the thing. So he was a huge inspiration to me. I mean, he was the guy. Yeah, I wanted to be like Keith Whitley. I mean, that was just all it was to it. And then obviously the older I get and start listening to the lyrics of his music and then learning his story and hearing other stories about him that I've heard along the way. I mean, just respect it, man. He was just, he was just like us, just a regular old guy out grinding, doing his thing, super talented. And it's a tragic story, a story you hate to hear. But I often wonder, I was like, man, I wonder what music would be like if he's still around. He came through the 90s and the early 2000s. I wonder what country music would be like. I wonder where his music would have went, because it's always evolving. He would have evolved with it, and it would have been interesting to see.
There seems to be a pretty serious fan base that he has, and even in recent years, there's been people who've done tributes to him, and I think Dierks Bentley is in that crowd, and some others that really don't want his music to be forgotten.
I don't think it will, man. He was so good, and like I said, his melodies were so good, and I still every night I will sing. I change it up. I may sing one song, or I may sing 3 songs of his at my live show, but I do sing When You Say Nothing at All every single night. And it's so wild. There could be somebody in the crowd that's in their 70s, or there could be somebody in the crowd who's literally a teenager and they're singing it. And so that speaks something, like you said, died in 1989, and here we are in 2025, and his music is still around and still doing what it's doing and having an impact on people. I mean, that right there, that says a lot about not only who he was, but what he even could have been. He probably, in my eyes, he was the best to ever do it. But there's no doubt he would have been the best that ever done it if he was still around.
Yeah, yeah, that's something to think. I mean, that's 36 years ago.
It's
he
nuts.
died. Yeah,
before I was born.
Yeah.
Well,
so Dylan, you've got I think 3 kids. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
You see any musical talent in that group that's going to keep the family business going?
I see the talent for sure. My boy, he's 7. My little girl's 5, and we have a 1.5-year-old little boy as well. But my oldest boy, he can sing, kind of like my dad saw in me. He's like, okay, he can sing. I know he can sing. I don't know how good he's going to be, but I know he can sing. He can keep rhythm. He's very interested in it. My little girl, she sings. I can hear it in her. She's still a little young. Who knows how that's going to turn out. But, kind of like my parents were with me, I'm not going to push them either way. If they want to do music, hey, we'll do it. And I'll teach you everything I can teach you along the way. And, I'll tell you up front, hey, it's a hard job to do. It's a lot of things you got to give up in life to do this job. But that's with any job. But, like my parents, I'm not going to push them either way, whatever they want to do. If they want to keep it going, great, let's do it. If not, hey, whatever you want to do, I'm behind you.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they've got some tools.
They do have the tools. Yeah. They do have the tools. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, Dylan, I just have one more question for you. What does it mean to you to be Southern?
To be Southern. Well, I don't know any other way of life than Southern, but what it means to me is it's family, it's God, it's a way of life that I think is a little slower, which I like. I like a little slower, a little slower pace of life every now and then. But like I said, I don't know any other way than Southern. You know, it's what I grew up in the South, Northeast Louisiana. It's the way I'm raising my kids, and you know, it means everything. It's just the way of life I know.
Do you get back to Bastrop ever?
I do, a couple of times a year. You
Yeah.
know, we'll go down there and see family. Just with my lifestyle and how busy we are, you know, it's tough.
It's
tough
hard,
to get
I'm
down
sure.
there,
Yeah.
you know, but I do love getting down there, and it's talking about being slower. You know, I mean, I try to live my life slower right now, but when I look at it, it's like it's pretty fast paced. But when I'm down there, it's like it's a breath of fresh air, man. It's like, hey, what are we gonna do? There's nothing to do, so we just hang out and chill out and just take it day by day.
Well, Dylan, congrats on the new album. It's called Easy Does It, and I hope it continues to be fairly easy. And thanks so much for being on Biscuits and Jam.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.